Hey everyone! To celebrate Canada Day, we've rounded up some great picks from our Canadian authors. If you're looking for some recommendations, then look no further and keep watching. Come Away With Me by Karma Brown. As most of you may know, Karma Brown's newest novel, Recipe for a Perfect Wife, was chosen as our One Book 2020. This recommendation by the same author is a story of recovering from heartbreak and loss. Tegan and Gabe, who are expecting a baby, hit a patch of black ice while driving one night, and the resulting tragedy completely changes their lives and drives a wedge between them. When Gabe reminds Tegan of their jar of spontaneity, they embark on the adventure of a lifetime in the hopes of repairing their marriage and finding forgiveness. But first they have to learn how to accept the grief that will follow them until they properly confront it. Washington Black by Essie Adijan. Washington Black is an 11-year-old boy who has known nothing but a life of field slavery on a Barbados sugar plantation. His master's abolitionist brother, Christopher Wilde, chooses him for his new manservant, and an unlikely friendship is formed between the two when Washington is accused of murder and Wilde drops everything to save him. But when Wilde must finally leave him on his own in the Arctic, Washington must forge a new life for himself. This is his story. Never Knowing by Chevy Stevens. Sarah Gallagher is content with her relatively successful life and her family, but since she was adopted, she can't help wondering who her birth parents were, and the question haunts her. When her request to meet her birth mother is rejected yet again, she comes to find out that it's because her mother was the only one to escape a serial killer who has hunted women at campgrounds every summer for almost 4 decades. When Sarah discovers that serial killer is her father, she begins to wonder if some questions are better left unasked. Dazed by Moonlight by Andre Alexis. Botanist Alfred Homer is invited by a friend of his parents, Professor Morgan Bruno, on a road trip to uncover the story of a mysterious poet named John Skennin. Along the way, they encounter several strange towns. Towns where black residents speak only in sign language, towns where indigenous parades are held, and lands where witches and werewolves are as nonfiction as they come. This novel begs the question, what is real, and how do we decide which is real and what isn't? City of the Lost by Kelly Armstrong. Casey Duncan is a homicide detective with a dark secret. In college, she murdered the grandson of a mobster. Diana is her best friend, on the run from her abusive ex-husband. When Diana's ex finds her and Casey is attacked only a short time later, they both apply to live in a mysterious town called Rockton, a town that takes in people on the run if they're willing to live completely off the grid in the Canadian wilds. And fortunately for Casey, they need a homicide detective because they've just had their first town murder, and they seem to be hiding more than they're letting on. 99. Stories of the Game by Wayne Gretzky. I would be remiss if I didn't include at least one book about hockey in this video about Canadian books by one of Canada's most famous hockey players. 99 Stories of the Game is hockey from Gretzky's perspective. He shares tales of his own experience as well as those who inspired him and motivated him to begin playing, and of course, stories from the game's golden era. Theory by Dion Brand. An unnamed narrator sets out to write an overly ambitious graduate thesis, which is uprooted and reoriented during their encounter with 3 separate lovers throughout the course of the novel: sensual Sella, compassionate Yara, and spiritual Dallas. Brand's novel is a touching work about love, personhood, race, and gender. Someone We Know by Sherry Lapina. In upstate suburban New York, a teenager has been sneaking into his neighbors' houses and onto their computers, learning and possibly sharing all their secrets. Mysterious anonymous letters escalate to a woman being murdered, and the neighbors all begin to turn on each other as the hunt for the culprit begins in earnest. No one ever really knows what anyone is capable of, and people will go to unexpected lengths to protect their secrets. Extreme Vinyl Cafe by Stuart McLean. McLean's Vinyl Cafe series presents this 6th volume, another collection of stories based on his famous Vinyl Cafe radio program. Return to the funny and heartwarming series that have captured the hearts of so many Canadians throughout the years as he regales you with stories from some of the Vinyl Cafe's favorite characters. Remember to find your next great read on one of our e-reading platforms, available online at hhpl.on.ca or by placing a hold on any of our physical materials. Happy reading!